What is going on, everyone? Welcome to WreckTalk. And look, I'm a little late to the party. New trailer, in-depth gameplay trailer for NCAA 25 has dropped. And I've probably been one of the biggest critics, or I am a huge critic of EA and have been a huge critic of this game just with some of the things I've seen. And I got to be honest, a lot of things that I'm seeing now are starting to make a believer out of me. And I'm probably one of the most skeptical, leaning towards cynical people you'll ever meet. So, first, the game launches July 19th. I have just bought the deluxe edition, so you don't have to. Now, obviously, the only reason you would buy that edition is because you get to play it 3 days early. And I've even taken off work 16th and 17th just to dedicate to this game. So if you're waiting till launch to buy or thereabouts, or you want to see a review beforehand or gameplay beforehand from someone who's, not just a homer for the game that's going to look at it with a critical lens, be watching out on the channel, subscribe to the channel. You'll get that the 16th, 17th. Before I get into what I'm liking and what I saw in the latest trailer, let me just give an overview of kind of high-level things we know that aren't going to be in the game. Unfortunately, there's no FCS teams, which I kind of hate. Like, way back, I want to say in like 05, I remember playing as Furman and some of these smaller schools. It was a lot of fun trying to build those schools up. They will not be in the game. However, there is a team builder, and I'm not sure how robust that team builder is. For instance, can I upload custom logos? That would be nice. I kind of feel like they probably won't, just for some kind of legal reasons. But you might be able to create those teams with Team Builder. Along with that, there's we all know this, no real coaches. I don't really care. I'm not playing the game to see my coach on the sideline. However, I will say Arch Manning got a ton of backlash from people like, God, why will you just not sign up? Like, whatever. I don't see hardly anyone criticizing the coaches. So a little bit of a double-edged sword there. You cannot, and I said this when I saw this $150 absolutely BS. They're trying to get Madden to ride up the coattails of the hype of NCAA 25 right now. You cannot export draft classes. I guess that has from NCAA 25 to Madden. I guess that has to do with legal issues, and players who you would export into Madden haven't agreed to the NFL agreement. But here's the thing. Why can't we just have it where all generic players, you can draft them? For instance, in our online dynasties, we might want to export those draft classes of all generic players to Madden 25. It's literally the only reason I'd play Madden 25. You can import, however, your Road to Glory player, and evidently that mode is going to be far more in-depth. I even saw and talked about it in previous videos, something to do with your GPA. So are you attending class? Who knows? What else do we have? Can't edit real players' names, obvious. You can't edit their ratings either. Look, they own their name, image, and likeness. They're not going to let you put Arch Manning in, I'm sure. They're not going to probably even let you name someone a first name Arch or ampersand RCH or any variant of that. You will have custom conferences. There will be a 12-team playoff, etc. Oh, also, no ESPN license. NIL is going to be in the game, but it's going to be very nerfed. That's kind of understandable just because even the people who regulate NIL have no understanding of how NIL works, so how in the world could EA? So, let's get into the gameplay trailer. And look, the very first thing they showed, the wear and tear system, got me excited. We have not seen this in previous NCAAs. We have seen it in Madden, I think, though I don't play Madden because I'm not a masochist or like horrible games. But look, this is exactly the type of gameplay introduction that I wanted to see. There's probably not a single college football game played or even football game played where a player isn't playing with injury takes a big hit in a game, and that affects how he plays throughout the rest of the game. In previous editions, it was just a very binary thing. Your player is either injured for X amount of time or he can play. Now, there was kind of a exhaustion system where as you played your player more, his little icon got redder and redder, and that meant he was more susceptible to injury. But I take my hat off to Madden. Like, this is a great introduction. If your quarterback takes a huge hit on his throwing arm, that should affect how he plays in that game, and it should affect how you call the defense. So it does seem like that's going to be in the game, and I'm thrilled for it. I think it's a great introduction. Now, the second thing is the one I'm most ambivalent on, which is player abilities, or I'm most unsure about. I will get on board with this, but it is highly dependent on how it is introduced. By the way, I didn't shoot my gamer tag. I don't think it's going to show on here. Let me show you that real quick in case you do want to play with me when the game comes out. Just Insane 148. That was quite a useless, though, interjection. Anyways, player abilities. Now, it shows a ton of player abilities, and that's something that worries me. Toward the end of the video, I'll tell you what my few concerns are and one major concern. Ideally, here's how I want to see player abilities implemented. First of all, some abilities need to be absolutely innate to that player, meaning they always have the ability and you cannot remove the ability, because every player has an identity, right? Like if you're a fan of Brett Favre was a gunslinger. Brett Favre threw a ton of touchdowns, but he's also the NFL leader in interceptions. So that should be an ability that, like, your player gets out of high school. You know, maybe he gets a increase in throwing power, and there's some penalty associated with his accuracy or consistency. And that's the other thing I want to see with these ratings. Like in NCAA 14, you could just absolutely nerf the game and make it where you never lost, particularly in Road to Glory. Like if you hit the right boost, you just wouldn't lose. You could have a quarterback with 99 speed, 99 throw power, 99 throw accuracy off of one boost. You've got to balance these very well. Now, evidently, you can only put up to 8, or you have a maximum of 8. And really, that's all a lot of my concern with this. They have to be well balanced. There need to be some abilities that if you have one ability, like, I don't know, a running quarterback type ability that increases the speed of your quarterback, that should disallow. Like, you shouldn't be able to get a quarterback that looks like me to 99 speed, if that makes sense. And I do think that should be wear and tear dependent. Again, if you have a perk or player ability that gives you more agility and you have an injury to your ankle, that should pop off that player ability perk. So I am very intrigued. I do think it could be really, really cool, but it's all dependent on how it's implemented. If this, I'm just going to say, if this is anything like what I think it could be, if they want to monetize it in a nasty way, I'm not going to be happy. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. By the way, they did Tennessee absolutely dirty. I guess you have like a quarterback mental capacity ability where like he's not rattled on road games, and they show him against Tennessee. Maybe it'll come up in a second. They say like he's mentally deficient. I think it's right here. Yeah, they did Tennessee absolutely dirty in this clip, and then they said Carson Beck did have the ability and completes the pass right here. Tennessee Vol fans should probably boycott the game just based on that. How could Kurt do you that way? Now, probably what I'm most excited about and what I think will, if done right, set this game apart and look, possibly make this one of the greatest football games ever made. Like, I am 100% willing to say that. even though I've been probably to a point even unfairly critical of the game. What makes college football great, why most college football fans are not NFL fans, is the atmosphere, the home field advantage, and they're even going back to a more classic, like the stadium pulse. I remember that all the way back, I want to say in NCAA 05 or maybe even 04. And it kind of brought some nostalgia back and brought me back in a good way. Like, I don't think, when was the last time we saw on field as you're playing the game, the rating of the stadium, like toughest stadium? I think that's absolutely great. The atmosphere looks absolutely fantastic. And I'm a huge fan. So just to give you an example, there's been something on Instagram and kind of going around Twitter of the Penn State, the music dropping. And I do know for about half the teams, they do have some licensed music that those teams generally play. I don't think Virginia Tech, Enter the Sandman, is one of them. Just too much to get those royalties. But just let me show you this this is what really started hyping me up. Because when I play the game, like this right here looks and kind of feels like I'm actually watching the game, like I'm at the game. That's how this game becomes one of the greatest sports games of all time. Let me show you this that I kind of cooked up and tell me it doesn't get you going as a football fan. Now, obviously you can't play music, after the snap, but you get the idea, right? Like that feels like you're at the game. Will we be able to add custom sounds? I know they've gone all around the country and recorded sounds. I think they're going to knock this out of the park, and I tip my hat to EA for that. In fact, I think they've even they've brought in the revamped guys too. I think that's all going to play well. Now, playbooks. I'm more of a, I don't know, X's and O's nerd. I don't know what you would call it. Like the guys that I hung out with in high school and college would play like the head coach game where you don't even have anything like this. You're just managing the team, managing your playbook and that kind of thing. I think it could be interesting how this plays with the player ability. I do think some types of offenses should also bar you from having certain player abilities. Like if you have a tempo offense, certain player abilities you might not be able to use with that. And this might sound really nerdy, especially for like a Georgia Tech guy like me, but I almost see it almost like how deck building games are, and the strategy and how you build your deck and how that could work with the playbook of, how you build your playbook, how you call the offense, how you intermingle it with player abilities could really be pretty cool and interesting. It all depends on how it's implemented though. By the way, there is some things they have to do. You absolutely have to nerf the option in this game. The option was way, way, way too overpowered in NCAA 14. In fact, you could just run the triple option and never lose on Heisman difficulty in NCAA 14. You could play one level like All-American, never lose, starting with horrible teams like service academies. So they have to nerf the option. The defense the defense has to react more like an actual player would. And you have to nerf connected plays. So I haven't seen, maybe I just missed it, connected plays in these trailers. I'm sure they will be there, and they should be there. Like, that's the whole art of play calling. In NCAA 14, though, you would literally have safeties just fall, like eat grass, face mask in grass, biting on the play fake. It's got to be a little more natural than that, so they probably have to nerf that a little bit more. And some playbooks should be deal breakers in recruiting and should force players to hit the portal. Now, we do know that you can hit the portal every year in Road to Glory from what I've read. The portal will be part of Online Dynasty. So if you go from an air raid to a pro style system, you should have a ton of offensive players hitting the portal. If you go, I don't know, from an aggressive, nickel scheme to a traditional 4-4, you should have tons of players on your defense hitting the portal. we'll talk about at the end of the video. They have not said much about Online Dynasty, and that is concerning for me. But anyways, let's talk about the revamp passing. Now, this was a huge problem for me in NCAA 14. Maybe I'm just a loser, idiot who doesn't know how to play the game, but that seemed to be binary too. If you tried to throw across the middle and you're trying to lob it over a linebacker, if you didn't, like, you couldn't do it. You had to have a clear lane. You either threw it straight up in the air, like infinite lob on it, or you threw it on a rope, and that results in a lot of picks for you. So I do really like the changes they've done to the passing game. Like, you even see a little flame. I'm assuming that's for hot routes. They give you a little more control in hot routes. And I guess, like, they give you a little more control in how much air you put on the ball, how much you lead. I think that's all great. Even they talk about the trajectory of the throw. That I'm really excited about. That all goes into, that's going to feel good when you execute. You've had to work at it, and it took skill of, you see where the defender's coming from. However it is, if it's like right stick with X holding or something that changes the arm trajectory, and you get the pass off on a big 3rd and say 3, you hit the flat. That's what's going to make this game great if implemented, correctly. Also saw new kicking mechanics. Kicking to me has been trivial in all football games, and again, it was binary in the last one with Ice the Kicker. It was easy, like, I never ever missed a kick, or rarely ever missed a kick, or someone iced me and I had no idea where I was looking or what my power was. So I think those are all good changes. Let's talk about some concerns that I have. So some smaller concerns. I could see the player ability system bastardized with monetization. Like, you could straight throw those in loot boxes, or even throw, tier them where you have S tier, quarterback composure, which you can't get with regular gameplay, and you can only get through currency that you trade for loot. Like, that could absolutely ruin it. That could ruin it. And if you can use player ability to basically make any player a 99 overall, 4-2-5 running quarterback, that's not going to be fun either. I don't think you can turn that off either. And that's what kind of worries me with Online Dynasty. Because I could see people on Online Dynasty saying, hey, this gives people an unfair advantage. We don't want to play it. Evidently, there's not an option to turn it off. Basically, I could see that turn to a pay-to-win system in Online Dynasty, and I don't want to see it. And EA does not give me a ton of confidence in that they don't like to just squeeze every dime out of people they think they can. Don't like that there's no Madden import. I definitely think you could have reset it where you just get generic players, it randomizes, or once you get to a point in Online Dynasty where you no longer have real players, it makes zero sense to me that you can't import that to NCAA or to Madden 25. There's a 0% chance I will be spending a dime on Madden 25. The two big things that concern me are, we haven't heard much about Online Dynasty, other than they have not confirmed that there's crossplay. They list the modes that have crossplay on them. Online Dynasty is not listed. That's a problem. There's no reason you can tell, oh, well, it's server space and stuff. EA is one of the largest AAA studios that has ever been in existence. If they want to have crossplay on Online Dynasty, they can make it happen. And they know that's the game mode that all diehard college football fans, and really football fans in general, want to see. Why haven't we seen, as many details in Dynasty? Are they hiding something, or are they going to reveal that in the next trailer before launch? Who knows? For now, I'll try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But damn it, EA, there better not be tomfoolery with Online Dynasty. You understand me? The biggest concern I have, and this is something EA has done in the past, not just something that happens in the video game industry, something EA specifically has done in the past. My biggest fear or concern is that EA will launch the game with absolute minimal microtransaction and monetization. Fantastic A+ game in my opinion. And then later push the monetization schemes in once they get all the praise for not having them in. They'll launch an update. Things will start becoming more aggressively monetized. Kind of like, think about GTA 5 online when it launched and what it became with shark cards. I really hope EA doesn't do that, but if I was an ethicless piece of crap company, that's exactly what I would do. Let's get all the credit for putting the game out the way they want it, and now let's make an update to get as much money out of them as possible. That being said, I am as excited for this game. And I'm a big, I play a ton of video games. I have a 30 or a 4080 Super. I've spent a lot of money on video games. I'm more excited for this game than probably any game in the last decade, just to be honest with you. That probably has a lot to do with that I'm a huge college football fan. With that being said, let me know what you guys think. Do you have any concerns? Are you afraid you're getting too hyped? Is the hype adequate? Add me on PlayStation Network. I play on the correct platform, which is PlayStation. Maybe we can play some NCAA 25 coming up in the future. See you guys in the comments. Y'all have a good one.